The NBA's been discussing new playoff formats recently, including the idea of adopting a play-in tournament with one-and-done consequences. Obviously, LeBron James is not a fan, as you just heard. Do you think the playoff format should be changed, Stephen A?
Yes, but not to this play-in. I think that is whack. I completely agree with LeBron James. It is whack to do that. I'm an advocate for the best 16 teams in the NBA. The top 16 records in the NBA should be in the playoffs. I'm not about the East or the West anymore, or whatever the case may be, because I just think that it's not just about the disparity from time to time. I just hate the fact. I hate when I see a team in the Western Conference that's out of the playoffs because they weren't one of the top 8 teams in their conference, but their record is better than all but 4 teams in the East. So, in other words, if you were in the Eastern Conference, you'd be a 4th or 5th seed. But because you're in the Western Conference, you don't even qualify for the playoffs. I don't like that. I don't think that that's the best teams in the postseason. I think the postseason should consist of the top 16 teams in the league, seed 1 through 16. I know that travel would be a concern. For example, if Boston ended up a 16th seed and the Lakers were a number 1 seed or vice versa, they play in the first round having to fly across country. I don't like that, and I understand that that's a problem we would have to find a way to alleviate. But that's the only issue I would have with it. Outside of that, I want to see the best 16 teams in the postseason. That's what I like. That's what would be my ideal scenario.
I don't think it's whack at all, LeBron. In fact, son, come over here and let Uncle Max tell you a story. I believe it was the summer of '83 when it switched over from deaf to fresh. Stephen A., you were a little older than me. Maybe you'll remember. So I think whack really corresponds to fresh more than deaf. So rather than say it's deaf, I think it's fresh. I think that idea is fresh, Stephen A., to have playing games. Why not? Let me tell you something. Number 7 seeds don't do anything. You know when they, like, once in a blue moon, a team like this year's Spurs, let's say Kawhi were to get back and miraculously get his legs under him, and all of a sudden the Spurs are firing on all cylinders and they resemble the team that had Golden State down 20 points in that game 1 last year, and you're like, uh-oh, the Rockets could get upset in the first series, in the first round. Like, once in every 10 or 20 years, something like that happens. Otherwise, what those low-seeded playoff teams are is cannon fodder. So, like, who cares if, even though the 8 seed had a better record than the 9 seed, they still have to, yeah, sure, why not? Like, the point is, do you want something that delivers entertainment and drama and hope for additional teams and makes the regular season and playoffs
Max.
more interesting?
Wait, you just said the first round of the playoffs is meaningless. They're cannon fodder, and so your argument there is to add more cannon fodder? More cannon fodder, more play-in games to more meaningless games.
No. It's because we understand it's baby steps for those franchises, or in the case of bad franchises, well, this is like their championship. But the point is it adds more drama to the proceedings. Whoever comes out of that matchup is going to be slaughtered. We know that already. But the fact is, now you have something to watch. Of course, we all know neither one of these teams beating the Warriors, right? But we all, again, once in a blue a team like the Spurs, but we also at least have something to watch between teams that really, and by the way, some of these teams could be progressing, like, I don't know, the Milwaukee Bucks or a team like that. And we want to see, hey, can they make the playoffs this year? Can they actually win sort of a playoff series or a play-in game, a meaningful game when it counts this year? How does the Greek Freak respond to that? It just gives us more drama and more stuff to watch among teams that aren't going anywhere anyway, really.
The only thing that I would add to that is, the only thing that I would say about that is this, Max. I remember in 2006, 2007, if I remember correctly, the Dallas Mavericks were the best team in basketball. They went 67-15. Avery Johnson was the coach. And Baron Davis and Steven Jackson was, as an 8th seed, put on a show, and they blew Dirk Nowitzki and those boys out of the building in the first round.
Once in a blue.
The San Antonio Spurs ended up winning the title that year, but the Dallas Mavericks were knocked out, and they were tailor-made to beat San Antonio, some would argue. But
Stephen A., once in a blue,
so it's not
but you know
always
what?
about the best
we
team.
like March Madness. You know why? Because there's chaos and randomness injected into it because of one-and-dones, right?
But not more meaningless games. You want to have drama, get a lotto tournament. Reform this horrible tanking.